Xenoblade Chronicles is a series that over a short period of time has blossomed into one of the largest from Nintendo. The entire series began with a single moment, where Tetsuya Takahashi, the director, described he was enlightened. Immediately, he was given an idea and began sculpting it, quite literally. This is the model of what the world would become. Bionis and Mechonis is the structure of the world of Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade originally started its life out as a Nintendo Wii game titled Monado, Beginning of the World. It was showcased in an E3 event of 2009. Revealed in this trailer was the majority of the cast, the Monado, and landmarks across the world. Sometime after E3, Nintendo went radio silent on 3 RPG titles that were previously announced for Japan. But here in the West, things weren't as smooth. Because of the silence, fans banded together to launch Operation Rainfall, a campaign to bring forth 3 titles: Pandora's Tower, The Last Story, and Xenoblade to the West. Whether it was coincidence or Operation Rainfall achieved its goal, all 3 titles were brought westward. Now titled Xenoblade, thanks to Satoru Iwata, Xenoblade released to critical success, garnering high praises for almost everything it strived for. According to Metacritic, there were several outlets giving this game 10 out of 10s, normally being praised for its use of the environment, its new fresh take on a battle system, the voice acting, and the captivating story it told. Years would pass, and there were no new titles in the series. So when Nintendo asked for Xenoblade to come to 3DS, they looked for a developer, and they found one in Monster Games. But who is that? Looking at Monster Games' history, it's not very clear as to why they were chosen, at least not right away. Most of their history was just NASCAR racing games, but if you look a little closer, in 2011 they developed the launch title for the 3DS, Pilot Wings. As well, in 2013, they developed the port of the Wii title, Donkey Kong Country Returns. Nintendo saw their work porting a near-perfect platformer to the 3DS, and how masterfully they did it. They knew they could trust Monster Games with their next project. This is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. It shows so little, yet conveys so much about the story. Here lies the Monado, this game's legendary sword, stuck in the ground in an open field. The grass sways in the wind, and clouds move slowly through the sky. Just like the original Xenoblade Chronicles, a beautiful rendition of its main theme plays, greeting you subtly as soft piano keys play. The melody feels tranquil and peaceful, but yet there are undertones of melancholy. It's a perfect introduction to the story of Xenoblade Chronicles. For jumping in for the first time, you launch directly into the history of their world. Xenoblade Chronicles tells the story of the Bionis and the Mechonis, 2 titans locked in battle. Over time, the battle waged on, and eventually the 2 struck each other in a stalemate, locked forever in their place. As time would have it, new life forms began on each of them. On the Mechonis, the mechanical life forms of the Mechon, and on the Bionis, the biological life forms, new natural life, home of the Homs. Xenoblade Chronicles tells the story of our protagonist Shulk as he becomes the new wielder of the Monado, able to not only wield the Monado, but surpass all those who held it before. Shulk mysteriously isn't affected by the Monado's power. He begins unlocking the secrets of the Monado and new arts, new abilities, as he traverses with his friends across the Bionis and Mechonis to enact revenge on the Mechon. Little by little, Shulk gets intertwined in a story he can barely fathom. Now, this description is extremely general and doesn't give a huge summary of the tale because this story is so involved in its characters and its lore. It's truly beneficial to unravel its narrative as you play for the first time. So how does it compare? The burning question has got to be, how does Xenoblade Chronicles translate to the 3DS? And I'm glad to say it's a solid transition. Monster Games took the Wii original and somehow crammed it into this little cartridge with limited concessions. Xenoblade 3D looks extremely faithful to its Wii counterpart. The art style looks identical, and it's common to see remakes get altered when relaunching on the 3DS. For instance, Dragon Quest XI with its chibi characters. But here the game looks exactly the same. Even the sense of scale isn't lost. I'd say actually exploring the world with the 3D effect adds to it. The 3D works wonders when looking at the sprawling lands of Guar Plains or Earthsea. As beautiful as the game was on the Wii and is on the 3DS, Monster Games had to make some concessions. The 3DS isn't as powerful as the Wii, there's no disputing that. And of course, when the game renders some of these larger areas, some of the aspects farther away become less detailed. Up close, some of the character models' clothes, their fingers, and minute details all look a little smoother. However, regardless of the area, most of the time the foliage detail is a little less occurring. Overall, there isn't really a major difference, but when you see them side by side, it is easy to see the changes. A second slightly more apparent concession is some slowdown. There's a lot going on the screen, and sometimes the 3DS just runs a little slow at that time. It did happen on the Wii, and it does happen here on the 3DS, just a little bit more. There are very few superfluous, exclusive features on the 3DS. You can really access all the features that are exclusive right off the main menu under Collection. In the Collection section, you have options for a model viewer and a jukebox. The model viewer, which seems to be a pretty common factor here on the 3DS, as we've seen with Kid Icarus, allows you to unlock character models based on how far you are in the game. It's pretty nice to have it work this way, so you don't accidentally unlock spoilers from the end of the game. The jukebox works similar. You can unlock music up to a certain point, and then you can't. But the best part about the jukebox is if you connect your headphones, you can close the 3DS and continue listening. But how do you even get all of these? Well, there's a couple ways. You can get tokens by beating the final boss, reaching level 99. You can use Street Pass, use Play Coins, or you can continuously spam the Shulk Amiibo. Before the Switch came around, I think I'd call this the best way to play Xenoblade Chronicles. For one thing, Xenoblade is a long JRPG. There are plenty of different ways you can continue working on playing the game. Having the game in handheld just allows you to pick up and play wherever. It's a huge bonus. Sometimes just jumping in the game to complete one more side quest, or explore one more new location, or completing one more story mission, watching one more cutscene. It's just so easy to flick open the 3DS, get this section completed, and continue on your way. One question for the 10 people that are thinking about it: Xenoblade Chronicles 3D released in 2015, so why didn't it come to the Wii U? And honestly, I think that question answers itself. Although Nintendo actually spoke with Tetsuya Takahashi before the launch of the game, the main reason Xenoblade launched on the 3DS was because of the 3D. Apparently, it was more appealing than just an HD remake. To me, it sounds like Mr. Iwata-san was wise, knowing that the 3DS was steadily doing better than the Wii U, and a remake would sell way better on the handheld than the Wii U. Xenoblade Chronicles is unlike many other 3DS games. Actually, that's not right. Xenoblade Chronicles is unlike many other games in general. The story of Xenoblade is always averting your expectations, sending you to question more than you ever learn, with the exceptional new take on an MMO style of fighting only enhanced by the characters and their abilities. It's truly pleasant to play. Not to mention the amazing voice acting along with the world building and landscapes. There's always something to admire here. It's amazing to have a game of this scope portably. Playing at any given moment and inching your way to the finish is the best way to experience this game. The 3D feature of Xenoblade Chronicles 3D adds a new perspective on the journey across the Titans. It's truly a unique experience, and even with its small hiccups, it always stands tall in the bushel of gems on the 3DS. Thanks for watching. Till next time.